This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Shakespeare was one of 3 witnesses called on the first day of hearings. What does he have to say? Not a lot would be the short answer, though this book attempts a longer one. The interrogatories are put to him, 5 in number. He answers them briefly. One cannot say curtly, because his answers are shaped to the formulae of court depositions, and cannot be reconstructed as to their particular tone, but he does not elaborate much, as some of the other witnesses do, and on some points he remains a little vaguer, a little less helpful than one feels he might have been. His statement, like the signature beneath it, is adequate, and no more. He says he has known both men, the plaintiff and the defendant, for the space of 10 years or thereabouts, in other words, since about 1602. He remembers young Bellet as a very good and industrious servant, and one who did well and honestly behave himself. Yes, he was a very honest fellow, and was accounted so by his employer. As to the particular matter in dispute, Shakespeare is sure Bellet had been promised a dowry, a marriage portion, but he cannot remember the sum mentioned, nor does he remember what kind of household stuff had been given to the couple when they married. And he says, and here, amid the general blandness of his statement, there is a hint of something more, he says that he had himself been asked by the girl's mother, Marie Mountjoy, to persuade the apparently reluctant apprentice to go through with the marriage. In the unwieldy language of the law courts, this deponent saith that the said defendant's wife did solicit and entreat this deponent to move and persuade the said complainant to effect the said marriage, and accordingly this deponent did move and persuade the complainant thereunto. This presents him as a kind of counsellor or go-between, a romantic or perhaps merely practical advocate. But another witness in the case implies that Shakespeare's role went further than this. He says the couple was made sure by Mr. Shakespeare, and speaks of them giving each other's hand to the hand. These phrases have a precise significance. They suggest that Shakespeare formally betrothed the young couple, performing the simple lay ceremony known as troth-plighting, or hand-fasting. An intriguing little scene flickers up before us. Shakespeare does not actually say why he was involved in these family affairs chez Mountjoy, but the answer is not far to seek. It is provided by the Mountjoy's former maidservant, Joan Johnson, when she refers in her deposition to one of Mr. Shakespeare that lay in the house. In Elizabethan and Jacobean usage, to lie in a house meant to be staying there, and in this context undoubtedly means he was the Mountjoy's lodger. Shakespeare quibbles on this sense of the word in Othello. Desdemona. Do you know, sirrah, where the Lieutenant Cassio lies? Clown. I dare not say he lies anywhere. Desdemona. Go to, where lodges he? Clown. I know not where he lodges, and for me to devise a lodging and say he lies here or he lies there were to lie in mine own throat. Act 3, Scene 4, lines 1 to 11. A similar pun is in Sir Henry Wotton's famous definition of an ambassador, an honest man sent to lie abroad for the good of his country. This is one of the primary nuggets of information which the Bellet Mountjoy case offers. It gives us an address for Shakespeare in London. How long he lodged or lay in Silver Street is something to look into. He was certainly there in 1604 when the marriage in question took place. One Mr. Shakespeare. I think it was the marvellous banality of this phrase that first sparked my interest in the case. For a moment we see him not from the viewpoint of literary greatness, but as he was seen by the maid of the house, a woman of no literary pretensions, indeed unable to sign her name except with a rather quavery little mark. Mr. is perhaps not quite as banal as it looks, because it was at that time a contraction of master rather than of Mr. It is the term of address for a gentleman, a connotation of status. But the effect is the same. We have a fleeting sense of Shakespeare's other life, the daily, ordinary, or rather ordinary-seeming life which we know he must have led, but about which we know so little. He is merely the lodger, the gent in the upstairs chamber, a certain Mr. Shakespeare. Shakespeare's deposition in the Bellet Mountjoy case has been known for nearly 100 years, but has been oddly neglected as a biographical source.